After a long hiatus, Acura, 20 years, come on. It's back, and people are already throwing aftermarket wheels on them like crazy. We already covered the 10th gen Civic, so it's only fair if we cover its brother, the Integra, as well. Today we're talking about the new 5th gen Honda, Acura, whatever you want to call it based on where you are in the world, Integra. Model years range from 2022 to until you're watching this video where they come out with another one. In this guide, we're covering the DE4 and DE5, so the base, A-Spec, and Type S. Because these cars are super new, it is hard to piece together fitment info, so if you're in the market for a new set of wheels, we are the experts on this one. We have sunk hundreds of hours into this. We have found some examples ranging from OEM plus to aggressive track-oriented fitment with meaty tires. I'm going to be showing you these examples in a little bit. First up, let's talk universal info before even considering the type of fitment, because it is a little bit tricky on these cars. So you've got basic fitment info for this, the non-Type R and the Type R, or the Type S, or whatever they're Acura, Honda, come on.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no.
5x114 bolt pattern, 12x1.5 lug nuts, 64.1 center bore, 80 foot-pounds of torque. For the Type S, 5x120, 14.15 lug nuts, 64.1 center bore, 93 foot-pounds. Much like the Civic Type R and non-Type R, the Integra uses a different lug pattern between the Type S and the A-Spec. Sucks for you. It seems the engineers still haven't... Okay, writers.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Seems like the engineers still haven't put their pipe down. Make sure you get this right so you don't order wheels in the wrong bolt pattern and then have to send them back and get them drilled. It would suck. One look at the Type S and you can tell it's wider and lower and cooler. Wider body panels give it an extra 3 inches, which is a lot, or so of width. So it must run wider wheels with a lower offset, right? Well, not exactly. Not only are the body panels wider, but the suspension pushes the hubs outward to make the track width wider as well. In terms of track width, for the nerds out there, 60.5 versus 61.6 and 64 versus 63.5 on the non-A-Spec and A-Spec. As a result, you're going to see wheel specs that are fairly similar. So, recommended base and A-Spec fitments. Now keep in mind, these cars are very new at the time of recording this video, so possibilities are still being explored. This info is going to give you flush or near flush fitment, but we're not going to be covering anything super slammed, hella flush, cambered, wide body, etc. etc. Not many people have taken their 5th gen to these extremes and talked about it online, so there's just not a lot of info out there yet. For starters, you're going to have 17x7 or 18x8 wheels with an offset around plus 50. You can run anything 17 to 19 diameter, but 18 seems to be the sweet spot. It's basically a Civic, just run 18s. 18x9.5 is the go-to size for this platform. We're going to look at a variety of offsets from plus 30 to plus 40. Very creative range there. Factory tires have awful specs at 215/50 for 17s and 235/40 for 18s. As you can see, these cars can run larger tires pretty easily. 255/35 is not out of the question. If you're getting some 9.5-inch wide wheels, consider new tires, which we can mount, balance, and ship to your door for free to go with them. Now, for the Type S, you're going to have 19s. Unlike the Civic Type R, the Type S comes with appropriately sized wheels instead of those donk spec 20s that you get on the Civic Type R. Honda, why? We talked about this months ago.
Why?
The majority of aftermarket wheels are downsized to 18s, but keep in mind that 19s are an option, and if you want a little bit more of a street look than a track look, they might be a better choice for you. They do suit the car perfectly in my opinion. Now, the factory wheels are decently sized at 9.5 inches wide, and most owners are going to be keeping this width with an 18 9.5 or 19 9.5. Like the A-Spec, aftermarket wheel offsets do range from plus 30 to plus 40, and as far as tires goes, the ITS comes with some pretty decent ones. Michelin Pilot Sport PS4S 265/30 19s. With baller tires, some prefer to keep them, which would make sense. They're like $1,200. If you stick with 19s, you can just swap your 19-inch new wheels on and run the factory PS4S and call it a day. If you're going with 18s, you can go up to a 275/35 or even a 285/35, but this is probably best for more advanced users who aren't watching this guide and are already cutting up their Integras. Now, one reason you might not want to keep the Michelins is if you're going to be using your car in inclement weather. If you live somewhere it snows, that sucks for you. California is great. PS4S are excellent in the summer, but will not be the best in rain, snow, or extremely cold conditions. A lot of Integra Type S owners are switching up for all-season tires like the Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 or buying a set of winter wheels and tires. But just don't drive this car in the winter. Buy an $1,800 94 F-150. Now, getting into fitment. VOLK Racing TE37 Saga S Plus 18 9.5 plus 38 with Michelin Pilot Sport 255/35 18s lowered on BC Racing BR Extreme Low Coilovers. I bought camber arms dial in the fitment and it does rub a little bit. This 2023 Integra is running, haha, big shock, TE37's not a surprise to find an Integra with this choice of wheels, as you could probably go to an alien planet and find a flying saucer on TEs. Elon, Mars, TEs, let's talk. No surprises here, of course they look good. As far as the specs, get used to seeing 18.9.5, that's what everyone's running. The offset is plus 38, it's better than stock, but still slightly tucked in. With these specs, 255/35 tires fit no problem, and they offer a huge boost in performance over stock. If you're looking for your car to perform, this is the setup. Don't watch any more, but do watch more. This car is BC Racing Extreme Low Coilovers with Swift springs. At this ride height, it does rub a little bit, but nothing major. Now next up, we've got AODHAN AD09s, 18.9.5 plus 35, Falcon FK510s, 255/35, 18, rolled fenders, silvers coilovers, and it doesn't rub. So if you lower the offset a little bit, this 2023 Integra is running virtually the same setup, but with a slightly lower offset. The difference is that this one does need a light roll on the fenders, which on a new car you may not want to do. To clear the tires, it is needed. Now based on the photos, the fitment looks perfectly flush on this one, and I do really like how this fits. The car is lowered on Silver's coilovers, which is one of my favorite brands, and you can click the link down below in the description to get a set of your own. Next up, we're looking at a setup of AODHAN AH08s, 18.9.5 plus 30 with Lexani LX20 tires, 265/35 18s. This one's lowered on Tien S-Tech springs with Godspeed rear camber arms. It does rub when turning, and the fenders are rolled and slightly pulled. This 2023 A-Spec shows what happens if you want to push the boundaries a little bit more. It's still 18.9.5, but with wider tires and lower offset wheels. The offset is plus 30, which will stick out about a quarter inch more than the previous examples. Also, this one is running 265/35 tires. If you get this size of tire, you almost certainly need to roll the fenders, regardless of the wheel offset and width. With this one, we do start to see a little bit of poke in the front, but nothing absurd or something we would call like wrong fitment. Some negative camber could bring it perfectly flush, and that might be a great choice in the future for this owner. 265s will give you a ton of grip, but might be excessive for a street-only car. They're best for cars that will see a little bit of track use, and doing them on the streets just a little bit much. 255 works. Now we've got a Type S on VOSSEN HF5, 19.9.5 plus 38 with the OEM Michelin Pilot Sport 265/30 tires. Stock suspension, stock, bone stock. Nothing modified, but the factory PS4S tires reused. The Type S comes with 19-inch wheels, so if you want to stay with this size, if you decide that you like 19s, you might as well just keep the original PS4S tires and just buy some wheels. In this case, you see a Type S on VOSSEN HF5 wheels, spec'd at a 19.9.5 plus 38. This is a factory spec. That's it. Little lower offset. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. As we can see, the fitment's flush or near flush depending on your definition. The spec's the perfect fitment for anyone looking for OEM plus fitment on their Type S. Plus you can reuse your factory tires and save a little bit of money, although you're buying VOSSEN, so I don't know if saving money is your primary concern. Alright, so now my favorite setup on the list. ADVAN RG2D 18.9.5 plus 35 with Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02 tires in a 275. Big boy. 35/18. This one is lowered on springs, iBox Sport lines to be exact, with no rubbing issues, which is surprising considering how big that tire is. For contrast, this is what 18s are going to look like on a Type S, and 18s are the preference for this platform at least so far. The specs are very similar other than being a smaller diameter, and with this one we do see a slightly more aggressive offset and a wider tire setup. There's still no rubbing, even with the car being lowered on springs. These specs perfectly give you a flush fitment, and guess what? It's the same spec as seen on the non-Type S. We told you this. Has to do with track width. Just has wider tires. Alright, so we're getting a little bit out of the norm here. We've got some Apex VS5RS 18x10.5 plus 47 with Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's 285/35 18s. This one is lowered on iBox Pro springs, no fender trimming, no rubbing, no BS, no drama. The advantage of the Type S, there's more room for activities. With large wheels, large back spacing, that's how the Type S can fit 18x10.5 plus 47 wheels. Despite the wheels being 1 inch wider than the typical 9.5 that you see on this platform, the higher offset means that the poke is more or less the same. In other words, the wheels are inset an extra inch but don't stick out any more than the others. This owner opted for very wide 285/35 tires. Although this is pushing the boundaries, there are no issues with rubbing according to this owner. This is one of those builds where you really need to take it to the track to justify the spec. For a daily or weekend warrior, you're just doing a lot of extra work to achieve the same thing. Stick with an 18 or 19 9.5 with a 265 or 275 tire. If nothing else, just remember the Type S is 5x120 so you don't buy the wrong wheels. It's really not that difficult to get flush fitment on these cars. Just buy an 18 or 19 9.5, 30 to 40 offset, probably around 38, basically Subaru. job done. The major differences are in tire size, but both trim levels can fit wider tires than they originally came with if that is your jam. Now, if you have a 5th gen on some baller wheels, be sure to share it in our vehicle gallery, which is linked down below, down here somewhere. It's a great resource to help others dial in the fitment, check out different builds, and show your car off. If you like the video, if you want to see more fitment guides, let us know in the comments down below what car we should do a guide on next. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, drop a comment, like the video, do all the YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.